Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about manifesting. I have been manifesting quite a few things over the past few years since I've actually started putting it into action, and I thought that some people on this channel might appreciate a little bit of my backstory on the things that I've manifested and how that has worked out for me. So, first off, I manifested my house. When I was living in Alberta, I was living in a townhouse with my husband, and we actually did not have the down payment for a house. So my husband's thought was always, when we get the down payment, then we'll start looking for a house. And I was like, kind of getting into the secret back then, and like wasn't really sure how manifesting worked, but I knew that based on what I had read and seen, you were supposed to start taking action and then things would fall into place. So we got a real estate agent, we started looking at houses. We probably looked at like 40 houses. I think our real estate agent probably wanted to kill us. And when we found the house we wanted, we by that point had been approved for a mortgage. Um, and kind of everything just fell into place with the money because, first of all, it motivates you to find the money, and the money came in a couple different ways, actually. And we made an offer, and then we actually got a house that was like 100,000 more than what we had originally anticipated that we could get. And I still have that house to this day. I'm renting it out now because I live in BC, but I was only 25 at the time, and me and my husband both came from nothing. So to do that so young after we had a kid when I was like a teenager and stuff was a really big win. And to me, that was like the first proven fact that manifesting could work, because I think had we went with that when we get the money we'll look, it never would have worked out. Like, or maybe it would have, but it would have been years, because you always get money and then you spend it on other things, and you can always find places to spend it. But when you have that focus and that drive and that vision, everything that comes in gets allocated to the right spot, and weird little synchronicities happen, and you just find out, looking back, how divine it really all was. The reason I wanted to talk about manifesting today is because I manifested a yoga studio space for myself over the last year. And I gotta say, one of the biggest tips I have for you is action, action, action. Take action, and like, there's gonna be lots of things that don't work, that fail, that don't work out. But the key is to not give up and to keep holding that faith and to keep holding that vision, because whatever didn't work out, is there's a reason for it. Is because there's something better around the corner, something that's more aligned to you as a person and to your goal. I started off looking at spaces to lease with my sister. It was kind of in the middle of COVID, and we just couldn't find a place that perfectly suited what it was that we were looking for. So then we were thinking about pre-leasing some buildings that were being built because they were super in a good area and had the aesthetic we wanted. But then what ended up happening was something that I hadn't ever thought of, and it was right in front of my face the whole time. Is my husband actually got like a big shop, so he moved most of his stuff into the shop, and then he was just using our like 3-bay garage as like storage for his stuff. And I hadn't even thought about it at all, and I kind of had negative ideas about it. Because I wasn't looking at the bright side of things. I wasn't focused on the vision and the possibility. Anyways, long story short, it ended up being the perfect space. So once I made that decision that I was gonna make it work in the space that I had on my property with no overhead, and use it as a personal space, but also open it to the public, because I live in a small town and there's literally no spaces available for lease at all here. I started moving things out of here. I cleaned it up, pressure washed it, painted it, did the floor, and I'm really happy with it. If you had told me a year ago this is what I was gonna do, I probably would have yelled at you and said, no, that's stupid, that's not gonna work for me. But I'm really happy I did it. And I just had to keep true to my vision. And I think it could have happened a lot sooner had I been more open minded and had I been more open to different possibilities. Because when we try and control the reality, when we try and micromanage how the path plays out on our journey, that's when we get stuck. It creates resistance, but it also creates negative emotions in our body, which are not ideal to our growth, to our bigger purpose, and to our joy in life. We want to be joyous in the present moment, and that's taken away when we over think and try and micromanage what is going on and how things are going to manifest. So, because this video is about manifesting, first of all, I'll show you the space. But I also just wanted to go over some things that I did that have helped me manifest this. It helped me manifest my house and just manifest things in general and some of the roadblocks I've come up on myself. So we have this space here. This was the garage door. It's like really deep in. I feel like the garage door should have been along the side, but and that's where I film a lot of my yoga videos. Then I have this built in, it used to be like a tool bench for my husband, but it's pretty awesome for a desk. Door. And then that's where I'm gonna do my tarot readings. And there's lots of room. There's like 550 square feet or something, so I can easily have a decent sized class here. I like to escape here as my sacred space in order to get away from kids and animals and husbands when I just want to have alone time. So some of the things I thought about in making my sacred space was the feeling it was gonna have. I didn't want lots of clutter. I handpicked things that kind of were my vibe. I got lots of plants. I plan on getting lots of more plants, and I picked nice light colors to brighten up the space. So you can take any room in your home, you can take any space, you can even refurbish a shed in your backyard and make it a she shed. I call this my she shop, and create a space that's yours. That's a place you can go to get away from the world and the demands of everybody else. But for my manifesting journey, I've got to say, my biggest challenges have been letting go, because resistance really bottlenecks our ability to see the bigger picture. It bottlenecks our ability to change and course correct and be open to what's happening, because when you're resisting it, when you're holding on so tightly to things being a certain way and to be in control of the situation, we miss out on opportunities. We don't see things the way they are. We don't notice little things that are being put in our path for our greater good. So that's the one that I would recommend, is learning how to let go, to go with the flow, to be open to new possibilities, like actually hear people out when they have ideas. Don't just close them off. That's something I need to work on, is not just shutting people down because I don't agree with them, because often there's a little nugget of truth or a little nugget of wisdom there that I could have used and I could have adapted quicker. Another thing is really just not losing faith. Never give up. Always keep true to your vision. When I get frustrated and think that there's no way around a situation, sometimes I just give up and move to a whole different thing altogether. And it's like starting from scratch on a new venture. And it's like, had I just adjusted these few things, I could have made that work for me and it could have worked out really well. But I wasn't being open to the possibilities of that. got frustrated, shut down, and moved in a different direction completely. So be mindful when you come up against resistance, when you come up against roadblocks, to think, what is this trying to teach me? How can I move forward from here? And maybe even just talk to people that have been there and done that and get their advice on what they've done to move through those obstacles so that you can move through them more gracefully. And then my last nugget of advice is find practices that work for you, that help you visualize and stay optimistic about what it is you're trying to achieve. Because when you come up against resistance, when you come up against roadblocks, when things don't work out, it's going to be easier to move through that pain, to move through that failure, and keep going if you have a deep why you're doing it. And also, if you have practices that help flip that perspective. For me, journaling has been really key. I journal every single day in my gratitude journal, and part of it is like, very repetitive stuff that I'm always thankful for, like my family and my husband and that kind of thing. And that puts me in the flow of like, I already have this. I know I'm thankful for it. It puts me in that gratitude state. And then I always end it off by writing things that I actually want to achieve. So, like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have my home studio, or I'm so happy and grateful now that I earn X amount of dollars a year, whatever that is, because you're already in the state from the things you have. So you're tricking your brain into believing that you have that it's a possibility. Because if you truly in your subconscious mind don't believe it's possible, it's gonna be a lot harder to manifest it. So that's kind of something repetitive, and it can be monotonous, that you do every day, that can help set your brain up and trick it into believing it already has it. And another thing I like to do is when I'm meditating, I just started this recently. I used to do it, so like I would recommend it because I've tried doing the meditation thing where you just sit there and keep bringing your attention back to the breath, and I find it very exhausting. But my life coach has said that to do, and I think it really works. It's actually what I did when I manifested my house, is to actually visualize the whole time you're in meditation. Keep your mind distracted by visualizing what it is that you desire. So visualizing the space. What does it look like? How do you feel when you walk there? What's your routine when you go there? Like, do you get up, grab a coffee, walk into your space? What are you doing in the space? Are you talking to people in the space? Blah, blah, blah. And this can be used for anything you want to manifest. So it gives your brain something to focus on. And then if your mind wanders off, at least it's easier to go back to something you enjoy that makes you happy, and you're creating that feeling of it being in the present moment. It's tricking the brain once again. So those are my tips for you. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if you've had success with any of these tips in manifesting things in your own life. Drop a comment down below. I would love to hear your story. I'd love to hear about your journey and see how that's played out in your own life. If you like this video, please like it, share it with anyone you think would gain value. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification button so that you're notified every time I update new content. And I will see you in the next one.